All right, welcome to the I guess the defense replays. I wasn't really planning. I was gonna do the whole video thing, but then I decided that, not decided. I remembered that I had to make a defense for the light and dark season. I decided that I'm gonna change my defense. So I decided to just do this instead to give me more time to figure that out. This is my current Malice build, and like I said, she is absolutely busted. I would love to actually plus 10 her currently just to get the most fun out of using her, but I figure this should be good enough for now. Similar to Gold Mary in a sense with some of the stuff that I've given her, but I don't know, she's just better. In particular, the B skill is really good. I've been going through my barracks just to see who would actually benefit from having that B skill. Marita, I feel like needs a little bit more to actually be usable because her weapon is pretty much just null follow-up and special acceleration, so she needs a lot more help in that regard. She needs true damage. Well, I mean, it does have the true damage, but she needs a little bit more stuff. I don't know when Marita is going to be good again, but she needs quite a bit of help. And then Ather here is also very good. I think she would do fairly well with Ike's B skill. You could go that direction with her, but slaying, so maybe not the greatest idea. And pretty much the same thing for Marita as well. Slaying, so Lagu's friend doesn't really work very well with her. Especially these units primarily want Gust just so that they can survive. And that's one of the main things that I'm probably going to focus their build around. Ira here, OG Ira, I don't know what to do with her. I don't want to give up her weapon because it's so unique, and then her special is also really unique. But then a lot of the stuff that she has just, she won't survive much anymore. So I don't know what to do with her, but I'm going to give her some fodder at some point. Maybe offer her new ults. I don't know. Let's see where that goes. Marth is an interesting case because I do want to keep Shining Emblem. So it means that I'd probably have to give him Spiked Wall as well, just for the flat damage reduction. But I don't think it is going to be enough for him because he doesn't have flat damage reduction anywhere else. All of his damage reduction is pierceable. Excel isn't really what you want to run on this Marth. And I don't know, man. He's a difficult case to build around without swapping out his special. I feel like him in particular, he got his refine a little bit too early. I really do wish they would re-refine these or something, I don't know, but he's definitely suffering from getting his refine a bit too early. They didn't really give him the stuff that he would have needed to perform, like I think Potent, but then that also doesn't really work well with Emblem Brave Marth. Really what he would probably want is some type of miracle ring, but that's not in the game yet. So he's just gonna have to make do, or he's just gonna stay unusable for now until I can figure that out. But outside of that, I don't have a lot of infantry lances aside from Sita. There's this Ather who's actually really good. And then also his legendary version falls into the same category as well. I keep forgetting that he has distant counter already in his C skill or weapon. I forget which one, but he has distant counter. Keep forgetting because I keep running him on a team that has a far save. It's not really 100% required. And then we have my axes here, which again, not that many aside from Erica. The rest of them aren't really that great. Aside from, Pinette, but she's could be better. Grima here, I have +4, contemplating whether or not I should pull that extra copy. Also, there's something here about this Ather, this Alchris. He's the only one that has 30% reduction, damage, def res reduction, whereas everyone else gets 20 from the B skill, Assassins and Occultist Strike. I didn't realize that he was really the one that kind of introduced this whole thing. but he still has the most, which is good for him because it keeps him unique. I think he really just needs a new bow and just a couple other things, and he could still be like really, really usable. But I don't know how he'll perform without being able to hit the desperation, because he doesn't have enough bulk to take a hit. So I don't know. I don't know what his future is going to be as a arcane bow user or as a rearmed. Is he a rearmed? Yeah, I think he is. But yeah, these were my teams for the SDS run, and like I was saying, these were the frontliners, Ather and Sita. Yeah, they actually work as frontliners, but Hearthvulgar, unless you have her really invested, she doesn't really frontline the best. You don't want her to be the one taking the main hit. You want someone like Ather or Ike or Tamara in front here for the captain. Well, they're going to be frontline. That's why they're there. It's not really particularly because of the captain seal, although they do benefit from it. But that's just where I put the frontliner. Really, the teams were difficult to use aside from the Sita team, and even to some extent the Ather team was kind of a little bit difficult as well, because Shez was mainly the only nuke there, and it was kind of hard to take out far saves with just Shez. And then, you know, yeah, I mean, Sigurd is great, but not really what I wanted for that team. And that's primarily why those teams were bad. But just to get into the defenses now, this is the team that I built, and it's really it's cute. It does things, but I think ultimately it's not the most cohesive unit. I've built better defenses is ultimately what I'm trying to say, but because the reason being is that it's really focused on the brave hits from Marissa, and how you can just teleport that across the map with Celica Ring. And Neathhogger is perfect for that because of her bulk. But the problem is she just goes out there and then she's kind of like in no man's land. So if the opponent has strong enough nukes, you know, you can probably get at Neathhogger and take her out. But most people weren't really able to do that effectively or at all. So, you know, there's that. But the downside of this defense is really that once Marissa goes, it's a lot less threatening offensively. I have Saline here, but really you probably want to run Freyr because he covers more of the bases. I basically just resigned myself to the fact that Bridal Embla would be a problem, or just Embla in general, and then you'd be able to snipe whoever you want. Alright, fine, you can just do that. I just accepted that as a playstyle. I couldn't fit Freyr in here and then make everything else work. It wouldn't put itself together in a way that made sense. Marissa has the +1 movement from Sigurd, but that's not really why it's there. It was really so I could get the Canto 3. Even though she has Canto 2, I prefer the Canto 3. It just worked out better for me. I guess I could have given that to Hearthvulgar, but not really what I wanted, so it is what it is. And then again, Sedith is here because Sedith is amazing. There's no one else that really does what he does effectively. So Sedith, he just keeps, you're always going to find a use for more stats, and that's what he provides, so he's here. Until there's a replacement or someone as good, Sedith is just going to be here. And then this is going to be the thumbnail, more than likely, either this one or one that's going to be a little bit later where she fights herself, which I thought was pretty cute. But yeah, this is how it performs, this is what it's supposed to do, and it does it consistently. The only downside is that once this happens, the team is completely out of organization, and it's really easy to pick off the units afterwards. I couldn't find a way to get them back into formation after the first turn, because Neathhogger is typically too far up the map for it to get back together. Reposition wasn't working, so I just ended up going with swap. Neither was drawback. Drawback didn't work either. Because both of those were, well, drawback in particular was putting Marissa a little bit too far away from potentially being able to snipe someone. So swap gave her like a lunge effect further into enemy territory, and then also, you know, pulled back whoever was a little bit far away. Ather, because of course Ather is fantastic as a frontliner. So that's why she's there, and also the Divine Nectar support is great for fighting against Sigurd. And then everything else just pretty much speaks for itself. You are able to get at Hearthfelger in the back if you wanted to go up there and you know, with Felix you can do that, but most people didn't pick that route. They decided to just try and tank it, which is not a great idea because as you can see here, the snakes are just a menace with brave hits. Unless you have no follow-up, you're probably gonna die. And then even if you have no follow-up, you're still probably gonna die. So yeah, this is exactly how it's supposed to work. It gives a little bit of unpredictability in the sense of I don't even know who's gonna swap or do the positional assist half the time. But you're either gonna get hit by Hearthfelger or Marissa, depending on who feels like they're gonna do more damage, I guess. But yeah, this is the team. This is how it works. Pivot was an interesting choice on Hearthfelger. I personally, again, lunge further into enemy territory because it allows her just to get not one but two spots in front. And I thought that was an additional sneaky thing that most people wouldn't be able to cope with. So that's why I went with that choice. But ultimately, I feel like this whole thing is kind of brought together by Ather and Celine, who does what Celine does. I wish she would cleanse she was able to counter the Embla thing, kind of like Freyr, but that's currently not the case. We just got to deal with it with the two debuffs being the maximum. This is yeah, this is just pretty cute. Nice. And yeah, this is pretty much what happened for the majority of the week on defense. Did take up one loss, as you'll see as we go through it.
So it ends here.
Kind of a sack play, kind of not a sack play, because he was doing really well, but he did get sniped, so I would have appreciated if he surrendered, but he did not decide to do that, so it is what it is. Yeah, let's talk about, well, actually, I started to speak about the my rearm Grima situation. Rearm Robin Grima. I pulled on the attuned rearm banner, went to Spark, having a hard time picking who to Spark for because both of them are, the majority of the units are really, really good. But in terms of value, Ophelia is great value, Micaiah is great value, and then Rearm Grima is also great value. So those are the three that I'm looking at. I'm having a hard time deciding between the armored fodder because I don't really need a new armored unit currently. I think I don't have any more copies of Bajaji, so I can't get anything out of that. So it would be to my benefit to Spark for Rearm Grima, because then I would have that fodder available. But then also, looking at the new banner that is currently, the Mythic Legendary banner that we just got, looking at that, and in terms of fodder that's probably going to be usable, I'm looking at, what's his face? Athos, and that special for mages. That looks like really, really good fodder. And I should probably have a way to duplicate that. So my options are Ophelia, also Plumeria, and then Micaiah, because it's available for pretty much all mages. The mage special that pierces damage reduction. And I can't decide who to give it to. If I give it to Ophelia, she can actually make use of it because she can pre-charge a 4 cooldown special without any problems. So she could actually be really good with that skill if I were to choose her. She would no longer have to run special spiral. She would just be able to pierce damage reduction. You could put something else into her B skill, and that would give her a bit more usability, just for the future. But then also, Micaiah is a really good Attune Factory. The downside is that she probably won't be able to pre-charge a 4 cooldown special. It's a little bit more work to get her to get that off. So there's that. And then, same thing with Plumeria as well. You really don't want your dancer attacking, but Plumeria is the one that I have the least amount of copies of. And then Micaiah is up next. Micaiah, I feel like just overall would benefit from having the merge, because more stats on Micaiah means that she'd probably perform better. She definitely performs better, overall with more stats, just because of how her B skill, or is it a weapon, works, debuffs and that, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking it's either between Micaiah or Ophelia for the mage special that can pierce damage reduction. I just don't know which one to pick. But then also I have a bunch of other fodder on my Ophelia, and I feel like it's getting to be a little bit too much, whereas on Micaiah I don't really have anything on her aside from her base kit and maybe a couple of C skills like Breath of Life and stuff, which I haven't really been like. That's another thing for Summoner Duels that just hasn't really been a thing. Breath of Life is like slowly fading out of the meta in exchange for Divine Nectar, which is strictly just an upgrade by far. But then also, it really does benefit you to have Breath of Life in general, because there are situations where you can actually make use of it. It's not all the time going to be Sigurd. So I don't know where to go in that direction. It's really hard to make that choice for me. I mean, there's always the option of just pulling more. That's also a thing, but I guess maybe what I'll end up doing is probably just pull more because probably on red, because that's more opportunities to get Ophelia and also Triandra, who I am probably trying to merge +10, and also Ophelia is +10, so I don't know, that's also a thing. Green isn't the greatest for me in terms of the share there. Even though Micaiah is on that share, I don't really need extra copies of Azura in terms of a combat space. Not really much that I'm doing with her. So I don't know. Great dancer, by the way, but not that many new dancer skills to give to her that would benefit me pulling for an additional copy. So there's that. Just not sure what to do. But I do want to copy that mage skill. I just don't know who I'm going to give that to yet. And then from just looking at the legendary mythic banner itself, I'm very surprised that they actually put a legendary there. Well, not overly so, but I was thinking that maybe they would just go the route of just putting one mythic and be done with it, since they really didn't have a reason to do a double. Especially since, the characters to choose from are getting a little bit more limited, both for mythic and legendary selections. So I figured they would just go with the one and, be done with it. But appreciative of the fact that they gave us two options rather. And both of them are really, really good picks in my opinion. I personally really, really like Ira, which is why I'm kind of disappointed, or not disappointed, not quite sure what to do with the Ira that I currently have built up, OG Ira, because this alt pretty much does everything that OG Ira does, but 10 times better. So I don't know what to do with the old one now. But I definitely want to get at least 2 copies of her. I think she'll perform fantastic at a +1. And then maybe 1 for fodder, but not really, because I didn't really... The B skill, the Canto, it's really nice on units that would... Endless Tempest is better because of the low. Overall, it's just better. Being able to cancel away... You have that in the Sigurd ring, but I mean, you can't put the Sigurd ring on everyone. That's the counter argument. So being able to just have a Canto is really good, especially for someone like Malice. but at the same time, you can get cancel 2 from other sources or even cancel 1. So I'm not like the biggest fan of the B skill, the C skill that she has. I forget what it's called. Beastal Tempest or something, I don't know. Brutal Tempest, rather. Yeah, Brutal Tempest. I'm not like the hugest fan. I think it's really good, but at the same time, there are ways to get movement out of your infantry units and you know, still perform at a certain at a high level. So I don't know. Not the greatest fodder on Ira herself, but as a unit, she is very, very good. Kind of stepping on legendary Nana's niche in a sense, but you have needed some other option to be able to pierce or get through Shield Fighter for a very long time. We've only had legendary Nana, Spring Carla, and that's about it, if I'm not mistaken, for the longest time now. So to be able to, well, I mean, there's Lucia, of course, but her problem is damage output, which is why I think the B skill from Spiked Wall is really going to be good on her. But then also the Lagu's loyalty is also good on her because she wants to be able to double. So Lucia has options. But yeah, Ira, very good. Not quite sure what it means for defenses, because I think ultimately what her problem will be is damage output. Even though she gets so much true damage from, you know, B skill, weapon, special, a lot of true damage there, but is it going to be enough is the question. Looking at, like, for Mortis, the possibility of just running a blue near save, like Gatry, is she going to be able to actually do damage to units like that? I don't know. It's to be seen, and testing. That's probably where we're going to find that out. And ultimately, is it going to be enough damage to actually take out the near save? Because if it isn't, then she's not really that much of an upgrade on Carla or Legendary Ninian. She's more of a side grade. I still think she'll be great into things like godlike reflexes. She'll be great there. Probably the death of Brave Edelgard because weapon triangle advantage. I probably want to point that out. Not a great time to be having a Brave Edelgard. I don't know why they chose to pick a red unit for the legendary, because that specifically counters a lot of the green saves, but that's another thing. But yeah, I'm excited for her to be in the game. I would love to get a +1, but it's a legendary banner, so I'm guaranteed that the summons are not going to be great. But let's see what happens there. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then Athos, who pretty much just does what Guinevere was supposed to be able to do, to a smaller extent, way better. But I feel like they've really just done Guinevere a disservice. Like Legendary and her regular version, they've done her just a big disservice in terms of just refine, remix her Legendary version. They really could have just given her a lot more stats in general. I feel like they should have found a way to make her a ranged nuke, not to the extent of let's say Nurgle. I don't think she should hit as hard as Nurgle, but I feel like she should be able to be competitive, which she isn't. She can tank things, and then that's about it. And I don't like that. They really, like, in the game, she's really helpful in the game, and they should have doubled down on her niche. Give her a healer, give her a dancer refine, which is pretty much a combat refine all the time. That's what they should have done. Maybe I'm just speaking because I haven't given her, like, you know, resonance and all the works, but then she really doesn't use it very well. She performs better with Lagu's friend. So I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of what they've done with either of the Guineveres. Hopefully she gets more true damage when they refine her legendary version. But yeah, it's just not looking great for her. But speaking of Athos specifically, great that they've added him to the game. kind of bummed that they've just done Nurgle so dirty. Like, Nurgle, I don't know, man. I feel like
They found an opening.
it's not that his essence drain just doesn't work. They could have, that didn't need to be the case because he doesn't do any damage to the Neathhoggers anyway. So they didn't need to like completely nerf his essence drain. I felt like that could have been a thing a little bit longer. But yeah, I just, Nurgle, you know, they really did him dirty. But yeah, that's pretty much where we are. Looking forward to being able to summon on the banner. Hopefully I get both of them. If not some extra copies, that would be great. But, you know, legendary banners are really a pain to pull on. Not quite sure what I'm going to do about defense for Light and Dark Season next week, but let's see what happens there. GG's, see you in the next one.